Welcome to Algebra 1 8-5 factoring, x squared plus bx plus c. There are 5 boxes, and here is the essential understanding that I want you to understand. You can write trinomials. Don't forget what trinomials are. Trinomials are 3-termed polynomials, such as x squared plus bx plus c, in the form of a product of 2 binomials. And remember, binomials are polynomials that have 2 terms in them, and you can write this as a product of 2 of them together. So we're only going to focus on certain types of trinomials today, and those trinomials are going to take this form right here. They're going to look like x squared plus bx plus c. So the b and the c, these numbers are going to be changed. So the x's represent our variables in this case, and the coefficient that is out in front of our variable of x squared is always going to be a 1 in this particular lesson. Okay, so let's get right to it. Okay, I first want to show you sort of backwards engineering here, how this works. Okay, if I took the binomial x plus 3 and I multiplied it by the binomial x plus 7, I'll go ahead and just use FOIL for right now. I would get this. I would get x times x would be x squared. I'll get the outside ones, which would be x plus 7 would be a positive 7x. The inside ones, 3 times x would be a positive 3x, so I'd add 3x to that. And then finally, 3 times 7 is a positive 21. If I clean this up, I would get x squared plus 7x plus 3x make 10x plus the number 21. So notice that over here, I have started off with a product of 2 binomials, and I have ended up with a single trinomial. When you go in this direction, when I go this direction, that's called multiplying, and that shouldn't be a big deal. We spent all last unit doing that. When I go in this direction, when I start with the trinomial and I go backwards and I end up with 2 binomials, that's called factoring, okay? And that's the main goal of this lesson. So what we're doing is basically we are starting with this and we are ending with the product of 2 binomials. That's how this works. Hopefully that makes some sense to you. Okay, I want to talk to you about something called the diamond method. And the diamond method is a way to help you sort of organize all problems in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. This is what we're doing. So notice the relationship I have over here. I have a 21 number on top, I have a 10 on the bottom, I have the number 7 on the left, and I have the number 3 on the right. I wonder, do you notice anything about these numbers? Do you notice a relationship about any of these numbers? Think about it for about a minute and see if you can come up with something. Okay, hopefully you notice that when you add 7 and 3 together, you get the bottom number, which is 10. And when you multiply 7 and 3 together, you get the top number, which is 21. So I'll say that again. When you add 7 and 3, you get the bottom number. When you multiply 7 and 3, you get the top number. This is exactly how we're going to use factoring. So as an example, if I gave you x squared plus 10x plus 21, notice that it's in the form of x squared plus bx plus c, where b represents 10 and c represents 21. I can take the last number, 21, put it in the top of my diamond. So this is how I'm going to do these. I'm going to do 21 here. I would do 10 down here. And then I would ask myself, okay, what 2 numbers multiply to 21, add to 10? And I would get 7 and I would get 3. And then from there, I would recognize that these are my 2 binomials. These are my products by my 2 binomials. So x plus 3 and then x plus 7. So the way that we factor this into a product of 2 binomials is through what I call the diamond method. So x plus 3 times 10x plus 21 would factor to x plus 3 times x plus 7. Okay, box number 3, I have 4 examples here for you, and we'll start off with the first one. It says x squared plus 8x plus 15, so I'm noticing that it's in the form of x squared plus bx plus c, so I can go ahead and create my diamond method. 15 goes in the top, 8 goes in the bottom. Now I ask myself, all right, what 2 numbers multiply to 15 and add to 8? So if I do 5 and 3, because 5 times 3 is 15, and 5 plus 3 is 8, so therefore these must be the product of my 2 binomials. So I'd go x, and these numbers inside the diamond represent how I fill this in, x plus 5 and x plus 3. So if you don't believe me, right, go ahead and use FOIL. So x times x would give me x squared. X times the positive 3 is a positive 3x. 5 times x is a positive 5x, and then 5 times 3 is a positive 15. So simplifying, I would get x squared plus 8x plus 15, which is exactly what we started with. So therefore, this is the factored form of x squared plus 8x plus 15. Let's go ahead and do part B here. Okay, it says x squared minus 11x plus 24. Okay, I'm noticing that it's in the right form of x squared plus bx plus c. 24 goes in the top, negative 11 goes down here in the bottom. So I am looking for two numbers that multiply to positive 24 and add to negative 11. So what do you think they might be? Yeah, hopefully you saw that. That was negative 8 and a negative 3, right? Negative 8 times negative 3 is a positive 24, but when I add them together, I get negative 11. So therefore, this whole thing factors to a product of two binomials as x minus 8 and x minus 3. So this is the answer that we're looking for that one. Let's do part C, all right? It says x squared plus 11x plus 24, and then also we can see D as well. So again, same idea. Let's put the diamond here. Let's go 24 on the top. Let's go 11 in the bottom. Go ahead and think about what it might be. Okay, hopefully you recognize this one as a positive 8 and a positive 3. So the signs do matter, because 3 times 8 would give me 24, and 3 plus 8 would give me 11. So therefore, this would factor to x plus 8 times x plus 3, which is the product of two binomials. And let's go ahead and do part C real quick here. Or excuse me, part D. Let's see here. Y squared minus 6y plus 8. So I would go 8 in the top, and I would do negative 6 in the bottom. Okay. What two numbers multiply to 8 and add to negative 6? Well, I could probably do a 4 and a 2, because 4 times 2 is 8. But I need to make a negative out of this, so if I made them both negative, notice I would get negative 4 plus a negative 2 to give me my negative 6 in the bottom. But when you multiply a negative and a negative, you get a positive. So therefore, this would factor to y minus 4 times a y minus 2. Okay, box number 4 is a U-try. Go ahead and try and factor a squared plus 9a minus 36. Okay, hopefully you got the right answer of a minus 3 times a plus 12, because I need two numbers that multiply to negative 36 and add to positive 9. So 12 minus 3 is a 9, and 12 times negative 3 is a 36. Okay, and box number 5 is another U-try. Go ahead and factor x squared minus 2x minus 35. Okay, hope we got the right answers of 7 and negative 5, because 7 minus 5, excuse me, that's not right. Here we go, here's the right answer. Notice my signs were reversed. So negative 7 and a positive 5 give me a negative 2 and I add them, but negative 7 times a positive 5 is a negative 35. So therefore the answer is x minus 7 times x plus 5.